All right, everybody. Well, now I think I'm gonna start taking a little bit more of this out. I'm gonna try and have this thing split down by the end of this video. That way I can start doing my like hot water bath for it. That's something I like to do, honestly, is do like a hot water dish soap. Just scrub all the pieces out. Try to make this a relatively good, reliable saw. I'm not used to these like farm and ranch saws right here. I mean, it's been years since I've worked on one. I'm more used to the pro grades, like 260, 261, 360, 361, 2. What I'm doing is the oil pump. This thing has a fixed rate oil pump on it, and it's plastic. Set that over there real quick. Put that back up there. All right. Because I have to pull the cylinder off anyway. I know with these kind of farm and ranch duty saws, they carry a lot of sawdust in there. There it is. All right, that I can clean myself later. It's definitely my first delving into a 291, or even at this point, I need to look at it a little bit more, but I think the 271 and the 291 are not identical, but they're on the same platform, kind of like the 290 and the 310. We'll leave the bumper spikes on there for a little bit. Because I think if I remember right, the 310 has the same stroke, but a different bore. So the clamshell, the belly pan of the engine is the same from the 290 or the 029 to the 310. So you can actually flip-flop them relatively easily. I've never had any stress out of it. In fact, I have on the shelf behind me a saw I built for my brother. It was an MS290, and it's an MS290, and all I did different was the price for the 310 cylinder was almost identical to the price for the 290 cylinder. There were, it's like, at the time, like a $5 or $10 difference. It was not a significant enough difference to not do it. So I just put the 310 cylinder on it and got him that extra little bit of cc's to go up to a, I think it was like a full 60 cc saw by the time I was done. So it's a good saw. I think I left that one a 325 as well. It actually rips. Okay, so that I'm gonna have to take the carb off for. Okay, so what we're to here is I've got the loop handle loose. Let's get the carburetor off real quick so I can move on. Okay. So in my collection of parts I have for this saw, I've got a new air filter, crank bearings and seals, and when I was looking at it, I'll look again before I actually put the top end on, but the top end is for a, I believe, 271 or a 291. So the reason I was talking about the 290 earlier is that's kind of the same thing you had between the 290 and the 310. A similar or the same stroke, but a different bore. So you would get a different CC class saw. Okay, I'm gonna do this a little bit different because I can't get enough slack in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to break loose this coil so I can get a little bit of slack in the ground wire so I can take the ground wire out. Yeah, that'll work right there. This is my first delving into one of these. There we go. Okay. The coil and everything actually looks relatively clean. Alright, now we got enough slack on that I can get to the kill switch, which is what I was running into, a little bit of stress there. I've not yet decided if I'm a fan of the choke and throttle linkage on these yet. Definitely not opposed, but they're not coming across as a favorite yet. Alright, cool. Okay, that's not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, so you actually have to put that back in. So what I was looking at here, you've got a your kill switch wire or your ground wire right here, and the other one's actually molded in, so you have to take this grommet right here back out of the hole to actually get that in and out. It's kind of weird. No complaints from me though. Okay, let's pop this little bugger out of here if we can. I'll make sure that those are cleaned out before I do much with it. Alright, there's that. So a lot of this is looking like I can actually clean it relatively quickly. I think the worst parts of it are going to be the clutch cover, the starter cover, the top shroud, the body, maybe a bit of the handle. I don't know yet. But let's get this loop handle off real quick, and then I will pull a flywheel and see if I can get a few more pieces off. Where'd my other screwdriver go? Right there. Got it. Got it. There we are. Sweet. Let's get the flywheel off real quick, and then we'll kind of go from there, because that'll let me know what I need to do to get the cylinder off. Definitely editing that out. Okay, so we've got it down to bare minimum. There we go. And again, that weird size. why are we switching sizes on STIHL? They used to always be a T27. I mean, they can do whatever they want. It's their company, but for me, it's just a frustrating thing. There it is. Okay. Now with all this stuff, like I've said before in the past, don't be aggressive. It never helps to get aggressive with it. There it is. All right, there's the fuel tank. See how much of this, I'm gonna have to do, a little bit of editing. All right, so now we're down to our 4 main screws. Now I'm gonna be honest, what I'm most likely gonna do is I'm gonna get this pulled out and do my best not to split it. And in the next video, I'll try and have all the pieces washed and we'll go through what it, what the inside of this engine looks like and why I'm using the aftermarket cylinder on it. I'm gonna be asking probably, I'm thinking about $300 for this thing. So if my cylinder and piston cost me $300, that kind of defeats the purpose here. But let's say one of you out there, you have a 291, maybe it gets a little scored, you toast it or something. This will be a good video on how to do a teardown and a repair on that, which is kind of what I'm after here. This one I can show somebody what I did to it, and also it can serve as a how-to on what you're gonna have to go through to put your saw back together. Oh no, there most certainly is a belly pan. Oh, come on. There it is. All right, so that is the saw pretty well torn down. That thing looks like it's cast right into the bottom. See right here, you've got the plastic on the side where my thumbnail is. That clamshell is cast into it. I'm not really used to seeing that, but this is the first 291 I've ever torn down. I've torn down a bunch of 029s, 290s, 310s. But yeah, I'm gonna throw this in a bucket of hot soapy water and we're gonna get it scrubbed up. The next video you're gonna see in this, we're going to pull this out. I'll have this clean and a bunch of the other parts clean so we can start our reassembly. And we'll go from there. I'm honestly kind of anxious to see. You saw how black that is in the case? The bottom right there? Yeah. So we're gonna see how bad this cylinder is. And I will make sure that I have it at least written down. The specs for the bore and stroke between the two saws. And of course, I'll have a couple price points. I'll actually write those down so I'm not doing it off of memory for you. All right, we'll talk to you later. Take it easy. Bye.